So, let us begin. And, well, before we begin, if you could just introduce yourself. I believe the microphone's already on, and then we'll launch into this conversation. Matter of fact, I'll move over here. That way I can see y'all can see me. Okay, that's better. All right, yeah, you can just introduce yourself. Yeah, name and whatever else you would like to say by way of introduction.
All right, good evening. My name is Danielle Bell. I am here representing for the single ladies. I am an assistant principal at Brentwood Elementary School, and I've been in education for 12 years. I like to shop, travel, work out, that's it. Long walks in the park. No, but yep. And I just turned 37. My birthday was Sunday. That's it.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Wilson. Recently married, newlywed, 11.
Woo! Yeah.
To this handsome young man right here. My claim to fame, I am a mother of two beautiful daughters. I am a basketball enthusiast, and that about sums me up. And I'm becoming the best wife you ever want to know.
Yes, yes.
Has a big smile. He got a big smile on his face. He's doing a good job.
Good evening, everyone. My name is it on?
Yep.
Okay. My name is Larry Wilson. This is my wife, Ashley. Recently, I retired last year from the Army after 20 years, and I currently I'm an Army JROTC instructor down in West Columbus High School. And my I guess off time, I do high school basketball referee, as well as semi-pro basketball referee and AAU intramurals, things like that. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, so y'all are both referees.
That's how we met.
That's how you met. Okay, all right. Did y'all disagree on the call, and that's how it kind of...
I'm teaching him everything he knows.
Got it. There always must be a teacher somewhere. Now listen. Here's the opening question for the conversation tonight. Once again, our conversation is going to be about love and relationships. I think we see conversations that are dominated about relationships, but nobody's talking about love. They're talking about what you bring to the table and all that kind of stuff, but nobody's talking about love and relationship and those other kind of integral things that must be present in a relationship. So here's the opening question. What's one of the most important lessons about love and relationships you've learned in your experiences and observations?
Okay, I'll start it off. So I think the most important thing I've learned, one word, patience. Love is patience. Understanding things not gonna go your way all the time, and right, you could be mad if it's go up the hallway or go to the Wilson cave, if you will, whatever the case may be, and just breathe, think about it, and come back with a sensible head. So that's what I would say, patience.
For me, and this is new, unfortunately, I think the most important thing that I've learned about love is to love myself first. And a lot of times we try and put so much energy into everybody else around us. And as a mother, I put a ton of energy into my children. I think that if they aren't happy, then I'm not happy. And of course, recently I've gotten married, so all the rest of the energy that's not put into my children has been put into my husband. So I kind of leave myself. It makes me a little emotional because I love really hard. I love really, really hard. And I forget to love myself a lot of times. So I'm practicing and I'm working on placing me first. Well, not necessarily first, because God is first, most definitely. But to
not
love
last.
myself.
Not last.
Yeah, not last at all. But to love myself as much as I love the people that are around me.
That's ironic. That's actually one of the questions that was on my list. How do you balance the importance of self-love with the demands of loving other people? Because we can't be anything for others we have not learned how to be for ourselves. So what is one of the lessons about love and relationships that you've learned?
So my mom always taught me, and it's kind of like the opposite, but I guess it all goes hand in hand, was to love God first, others second, and yourself last. So with me, I'm more so about the actions than the words. You know, we tell people all day long, I love you, I love you, I love you. But with me, I really want to make sure that I show that love at school, you know, to my students, to my staff. So I'm just an action person. So I guess the lesson is that if you're going in that order, that it's the balance. You know, I'm all for self-love. You know, I take myself out on dates all the time, but I just make sure that whatever I'm doing, that it's the act and how I carry it, you know, or how I give it. You know, it's different love languages, so I just make sure that whatever I'm doing is in love. You know, it might take me a second, but I try to find the love in it and, you know, just try to think like how God would love at work or in my everyday life.
But that one of the questions that I contemplated asking, but we've really gone into this organically, is what does love even look like? So just think about that for a moment. Does anybody want to share a lesson that you have learned about love and relationships?
It's on.
Thanks. Good night. What I have learned about love, that is not about me. That is something that I've learned. Yes, I hear and I understand that I ought not put myself last. But when it comes to love, for me, and I've learned this after making my mistakes, being divorced and all, I learned that to show love, it's not what I want, meaning I may want someone to hold my hand, but that's not what the person requires of me. So I don't give them what I think I would want, albeit love each other as I would love myself. That, of course, is the golden standard. But how do you want me to love you? And I've learned that with my son. I've learned that with my mom. I've learned that with my sister. And I've learned that with my friends. How do I serve you? Even as I take care of me, and even as I seek to be of service to others.
So let me ask this question as we talk about love. Thank you so much. No, Brother Steve, we good. I'm moving on to the next question. In what ways do you think modern technology, social media, has affected people's concept and perspective of what love and relationships are?
So, if I may. So your algorithm on social media feeds you what you are accustomed to, I suppose. So say
what you
for
lean
instance,
towards in a way.
Correct. So say for instance you have a bad day and you're looking for some particular thing on social media. Well, once you click like, then it's going to continuously feed you the same thing over and over and over and again. And I was just having this conversation with my friend, and he was just talking about how he got out of a bad relationship. And then he started to share things that felt comfortable to him regarding that last relationship. And then everything started to come his way about bad relationships, about what didn't work in his relationship. And then he started to latch on to the things that, you know, kind of happened in his relationship. So now that algorithm is feeding that information to him, and he's getting it. It's all in his brain. And now he's like kicking that information to me. And he's like, well, this is how it is. And I'm like, that's not how it is. That's what 1 milliparameter of social media says it is, because that's what you're feeling today. But that's not necessarily how other people feel, because I definitely didn't feel that way. So your algorithm, like what you're feeling in this particular moment, social media is gonna feed that to you, and then, you know, they entice your brain or change your thoughts.
So for me, unfortunately, I think sometimes it has ruined relationships, because when we're scrolling all day long and we're looking and we're liking this, and oh, they dressed alike, oh, I want to be like them, and yeah, these relationship goals, yeah, this is what I want. But then,
So you mean people see other people's relationships and they be like, relationship goals
based on the picture,
because I see that and I want that.
Yeah, because a picture, it says 1,000 words. Like, they're on vacations, they're on trips, but you're never gonna get the full picture. And I think that takes a lot of maturity to understand that. But when you're just scrolling all day long and you single and it's just you, and it's just kind of like, that's what I want. But is that really what I want? You know, because we don't know what transpired before that picture. We don't know what's going to transpire after that picture. And that was videos. So if pictures say 1,000 words, you can't imagine what the videos say. So it's hard. It's really hard. Even like on Pinterest, I have a whole wedding board. I don't know when I'm getting married, but I have all these pictures of everything that I want. The dress, the ring, you know, and that's like in my mind, because that's what I'm looking at and that's what I want. But I don't even know if that's really what I want. I don't even know if that's really what God wants for me, you know, but it's right there on my phone all day long, all day long.
Anything you want to add?
Well, Pastor, congregation, I don't have social media. I just have Yahoo Mail. So. Would anybody would like to add anything to this conversation? If so, you can raise your hand. Social media is a monster. It's a monster, and you know, there are good monsters to a degree. There are bad monsters to a degree, and it can feed the best of us, and it can feed parts of us that are the worst of us. And that's part of what you were talking about, Ashley, and that's part of what you were talking about, Danny. It can really give you a perception of a thing. And I don't know if y'all know this or not, but social media has become one of the predominant things reported in divorces. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but social media has become one of the predominant reasons as people report their reason for divorce. So it has become a major factor in relationships in one way or another. Here's another one. When you're dating somebody, when do you make that public? Do you make that public? How do you make that public? You know, so it has just created there was a whole lot of laughter. It must have been did y'all have to navigate those waters? For the most part, like I said, I don't have social media, so my wife it's mainly like basketball stuff, so she'll send me something on Instagram or whatever, and I watch it, then I swipe up, and I'm like, how this stuff just starts coming up. So that's my interaction with social media, is when my wife sends me a video, something about basketball, and then she asks me a question about the call, was it right or wrong, and things like that. So
I only post on social media for the most part, about my children and their accomplishments and basketball. And every now and then, I'll post a picture of us every now and then. I mean, it's very sporadic. So I don't necessarily think that's a concern, but he did ask me when I was gonna change my last name on Facebook.
So that's a conversation, of course, you have to have, and that conversation several years ago did not exist. So these are just some of the things, some of the challenges that social media has added to the dynamics of relationships that can make them easier or, for the most part, more complicated. Yes, sir.
I just want to add my little perception of that, what I've encountered throughout. I've been married for a little while, over half a century. And so,
For almost 50 years. Wow.
53 years.
53.
But that's not the main point, though. My point, that what I have discovered down through the years and raising daughters and sons and grandchildren and talking with them is what I've discovered is chivalry has been taken out of courtships and togetherness. And what has done that is the social media. That's what I discovered. So if like what you just said, I'm sorry to get you said you don't have a Facebook, so you treat your wife a lot different than what those that does have Facebook does, and not only that, with more respect. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I think one of the most important things that my dad and my granddad taught me was how to treat a lady. Simply which side of the street you should walk on, holding the door, opening the door, pulling out her chair, things like that. So absolutely, I agree with you, sir, absolutely.
You were raised right. I was raised the same way. Well, my grandmother, my mom's mom in particular, when we were out, I mean, even when I was a kid, she walked up to the door, she wouldn't touch the door. If I was, behind or whatever, she'd stand at the door and wait until I got there, and I'd open the door. It was just part of how I was raised to treat women. Yes.
Well, I was previously married, and then I was divorced, and I've been divorced. Well, I was divorced for 7 years. So within that span, I became a very independent individual, So I didn't necessarily have gentlemen opening doors or demanding that they open the door and I stand there and wait. So that wasn't comfortable for me initially. And we actually got into an argument about it. And I mean, like, we didn't talk for a day because I opened the door. And yeah, I mean, it's something that ladies have to be, eased into, I believe, as well, women, because independence is such a huge thing in our society now. So I don't want to take chivalry from you amazing gentlemen, but just kind of be patient with us new age women, and you can teach us a thing or two.
But me, I'm standing there. I'm gonna stand there every time.
You're gonna stand
every time.
Yeah.
I'm not getting out the car. I'm gonna stand right there at the door.
Now, Savannah, I'm not saying I get it every time, but I try to get it more often than not. Yeah, I try to. All right, well, listen. So this really segues us into the next question very, very well, because that's part of what y'all had to do there. So let me ask this. What does the word compromise mean to you in regards to relationships? Compromise. And of course, anyone that would like to add into the discussion, you can feel free. But what does compromise mean?
As I said, I was divorced before. So I had to take some of those things that I learned in that past relationship and unlearn them. I became an independent person. This gentleman was his own person, an adult male, so he had his own way of doing things. I had my own way of doing things. And then when we merged, there was a butting of heads in several instances. So I don't necessarily want to concede, because it's really easy to concede and just say, okay, whatever, we'll do it your way. But I want to understand why he wants it done this way, or why I am so strong about it being done my way, so that in the future, when we have to visit this again, we understand why we're doing it this way. So we have to meet in the middle with our thought process and, our experiences and past situations and kind of figure it out so that we don't have to cross that negative river again.
Yes, sir.
Pastor, I was going to say, after having messed up a couple of times, or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. But anyway.
Who's counting, right?
Okay, right.
Who's counting?
I read a book called The 5 Love Languages, and it spoke about you understanding what the other person wants. And as far as compromise, that's what you do. You understand what the other person wants, and you learn their language or what makes them tick or what they want, and then that's what you give. That's compromise, to me.
I think the gentleman here and then the young lady over here spoke about it as well in regards to love languages and you trying to love someone based off how you want to be loved. I think that was one of the biggest issues that I had when my wife and I got married. I'm thinking, okay, well, I might want to, one of the love languages, for example, is gifts, okay? That's not her thing. She doesn't like gifts. She likes quality time, for example. And what I've realized through this, I don't want to call it an ordeal, but this one specific situation, the most precious thing you have is time, right? Because once you give your time away, you can't get it back. It's gone. So, like the young lady over here said, loving yourself first, and then being able to love someone else. That's what I had to learn. So when it comes to compromising, as the pastor spoke on, compromising to me is more or less not necessarily putting yourself to the side, but also you're not putting yourself to the side, but you're making time for the one you love, then coming back to yourself in regards to loving yourself.
Okay. Compromise, to a degree, neither person is going to get everything that they want. If one person is getting everything they want, there's been no compromise. So both have to have given up something and reach the decision of whatever it is. But if you got 100% of what you wanted, you didn't compromise. You just stayed with what you wanted.
Yeah, and then I was gonna mention, it's fun as y'all mentioned compromise. So you have to look at like relationship as like teamwork, because when you think of selfish, the word self is in there, so you're thinking more of yourself. So I believe, I'm just saying with me, for instance, like God put you through like a series of tests so that way you learn how to work together as teamwork. Like with me being an entrepreneur, so I have learned not to think more of myself, but think and consider other people's feelings and other people's side of the story. So you have to see it as a team building work to work collectively together. That's how I see it as.
And I think one of the main things with compromise is communication, and just not holding everything in to just, for the sake of, I don't want to argue. But everything doesn't have to be an argument. I just want to let you know my perspective. I want to let you know how I feel. So at least I voice that. So if it comes up again, it's not like, oh, well, you was cool with it, and then why is it different now? Because I've already let you know. So from someone that's dating, I'm very vocal. I'm going to let you know what it is before it even becomes a conflict or an issue. And then once I see that it is an issue, then I'll know like this might not work. So communication to me is very key.
Communication is absolutely key. You ever thought you explained something like as well as you possibly could, and then it was like, no, you didn't? No, y'all.
No,
you like,
Pastor, absolutely
you're like, man,
not.
I broke that down. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh no, that's not. That's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's not what I. How many effective communicators do we have in here, in your own estimation? Effective, communicators do we have in here? And yet, you are communicating in a way you can understand. And communicating in a way you can understand really doesn't mean anything if you don't learn how to communicate in a way they can understand. And that becomes the effective communication tool, of which I'm taking it day by day. I am taking it day by day. All right, okay. What kind of shared values and goals do you think a couple should have? What kind of shared values and goals? I mean, you don't have to get a long list if you just want to say one or two, because it's not like whatever you say, you can cover it all. So, but what kind of shared goals and or values do you think a couple should have?
I think the first, to me, the most important one is God first. If God is in everything you do as a couple, whether it's your home, whether it's as soon as you get up in the morning, you pray before you head out the door, whatever the case may be, God first. And then secondly, to me, teamwork. With teamwork, knowing that the other person got your back regardless of the good day or the bad day, whatever the case may be, when you come home, that's your sanctuary. That's where you all can just talk and have everything gelling and everything's good to go. I try to decompress before I get to the house, so that way I'm not bringing anything from the work into the house. We have two daughters that's left in the house right now, so to me it's very important that they see how a man should enter, how a man should act, how a man should be in regards to everything we do in regards to our home.
For me, it's definitely God first, so that goes without being said, but the upbringing of our children. I am from Mississippi, so we raised... Mississippi.
What part of Mississippi?
Meridian, Mississippi, right
Meridian.
on I-20.
I hear
Yes.
Meridian, Mississippi kind of rough.
Not as bad as Fayetteville.
Really? Shout out to y'all, Vietnam. Shout out to y'all, Vietnam. Okay, all right, all right.
So I think our values, I mean, they may differ. We're Deep South, we're Bible Belt, spare the rod, spoil the child.
You got that right.
I don't necessarily raise my children the way my parents raised me, but what they instilled in me is there. And my children are yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir children. They absolutely honor their parents without a shadow of a doubt. And that's expected. I mean, I don't put the fear of God in my children, but they fear their parents. And I just think that our beliefs on raising our children must be very similar because I put a lot of energy into my children.
All right, so for me, of course, God first, but now that I'm older, one thing that is really important to me is how you were raised. I grew up in a two-parent household, so I want to know, what kind of household did you grow up in? How do you treat your mom? Was your dad around? And then, family life, what are your plans? I mean, I'm 37, my clock is ticking, so if you want 20 kids, I don't know if I can help you out right there, but, still, those are conversations that I want to have, because, we need to put that out there in the beginning, because I don't know, what God has planned, but your family, how you were raised, your job, your goals, finances, you don't just say it all at once, but those are values that matter to me now that I'm older.
All right, we only got a few more questions, about 6 or 7 minutes. Which do you feel is more common? Love at first sight or love that develops over time?
Love that develops.
I'm saying
That was quick.
Both exist from what I hear.
Sure.
From what I hear. Because I'll hear people say, yeah, I saw her, I walked up to her, and I was like, you gonna be my wife. And I'm like, for real? That line worked. But then they got married and stayed together, so I was like, yeah, it does. And then there were people like, I really couldn't stand them when we first met. So both of those things exist. But which do you feel is the more common? And of course, this is just your opinion.
My opinion is love that develops. Our thought process differs when it comes to this, but I don't necessarily, I appreciate attraction, but that's not, or physical attraction, but that's not most important to me. I must connect with my partner on a level of intellect, on hobbies and parenting and so on and so forth. So we must connect mentally and not necessarily physically. We can say that from my past relationship. They wasn't that cute. But
So for me, it's more common. I'm a love at first sight, like first sight type of person.
Like see them across the room
yes,
and bam!
Yes, immediately. I love you.
Got it.
I love you immediately. But no, but that's just, in my mind.
let's get married.
Yes, let's get married.
So I can sit here.
Yes, but again, that's just because I'm older. But and I'm like a vibe person, like an energy type of person. So once I'm attracted to your energy, your vibe, your space, then come to 21 questions. Then I want to know, you go to church, like all of that type of stuff. But I'm love at first sight.
All right.
I didn't believe in love at first sight. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't believe in it. And then there I was standing in the gym with my uniform, my referee uniform on, and she walked in.
I know that's right.
Hey, proof is in the pudding. Proof is in the pudding. I am curious. I am curious kind of what the congregational feel is. No, I don't need them to talk. I'm moving through this. You want to talk, you should have came up here. So, but I am curious. Y'all know I'd like to do a congregational survey. And those of you that are watching us in our Connected Campus, those of you that feel more often than not it is love at first sight, raise your hand. Oh, okay. All right. So, and those that believe it is a love that develops over time. Got it. All right. Hey, you know what the beautiful thing is? Both are true. It just depends on your own life, personal experience. So, and that's the thing about the internet. People go on and they argue their opinion is truth, but it's just your opinion and your life experience that reflects it. Oh, Dad, I just remember we got to do an Ash Wednesday imposition of ashes. So I'll get one more question, and then we are done. I didn't know. Let's give our panelists a hand. Because it's already time for us. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being brave and bold enough to talk about relationships, especially in this particular climate. Now, it is, for those of you that do not know, it is Ash Wednesday. And no, I ain't talking about the thing that's in between your fingers. And I ain't talking about that ash. No, I ain't talking about the white that's on your knees when you don't. I'm not talking about that ash. So, Reverend C. David Stackhouse, he's going to come set the house in order. And for those of you that want to participate in the imposition of ashes, that is when you get the ash cross on your forehead, symbolic of the beginning of Lent season. But we'll give an explanation of all of that at this moment.
As I move expeditiously in the presenting of the teaching of Ash and Ash Wednesday, anyone here remember Palm Sunday? Remember Palm Sunday? And you remember Brother Hobson, back in the day, they would give us, be in the sign of a cross. And now we move towards having a small palm branch that we wave. And you know, those of us, and I don't take it for granted that everyone know why we lay, the palms. You remember when Jesus rode down the Via Dolorosa on his way to Calvary? People laid their garments, and those who could not lay their garments ran to the palm trees and got trees of palms, and they laid them down. That's Palm Sunday. Well, the Wednesday after that started to commemorate Palm Sunday, the the passing of and the coming of the cross. Well, that also, what we would do traditionally is save the palms, the branches. And on Wednesday, at about 11 o'clock, we burn those palm leaves. And then we take the ash. And many times today, and matter of fact, we've done it right here before at noon, we share what is called the imposition, the placing of the ash on your forehead with your thumb. And we place the ash on your forehead and we say, from dust we came and to dust we shall return. And that's why would we do that? Because our sign, anyone here in a fraternity or a sorority, you have your sign. Any sports fans, especially you sport fans who follow that big star, that's your sign. As Christians, the cross is our sign. And that's why we share.
Let me give a little bit more theological context to it, because that's how we get the ash. I want y'all to understand why we do the ash. So in the Bible, ashes are representative of loss and of sacrifice. And as we go into the Lent season starts on Ash Wednesday. It goes for 40 days up until Easter Sunday. It is the penultimate celebration and the seminal moment of our faith. So in the liturgical calendar, this day is called Ash Wednesday, the day of loss and sacrifice that we start leading up to Jesus dying on the cross and being resurrected. In the Bible, they would put on sackcloth and ash and sit in ashes, because those things represent loss and sacrifice. Now I know y'all like, I don't want that with loss on my forehead. You're losing anyway. All of us in life have to lose something. Sometimes, some stuff we want to lose, some stuff we don't want to lose. But this is an intentional loss. This is saying that I am losing on purpose something out of my life because I'm anticipating God is going to replace it with something greater. A lot of people use Lent season as a time to diet. That's why you will see a lot of fast food places start to advertise fish sandwiches. You know why? Because a lot of people give up beef and a lot of people give up chicken for Lent because they are in a process of loss, in sacrifice, in the hopes that as they make that loss, God fills that void with something better and something greater. So this is also that ash is representative of, I am in the season of Lent. I am in the season of intentional loss and intentional sacrifice in the anticipation that God is going to fill that space and that void with something better that he has purpose for my life. And so it is not only our sign of Christianity, it is our sign of intentional loss and sacrifice and belief that God has something greater.
And the church said, Amen. It's a free will. If you so desire to come, our lead pastor will be on one side of the pulpit, and I'll be on the other side. And
what we'll do is we'll pray so that after you've received your ashes, you can hang, you can make your exit, but you will have the liberty to make that decision at that moment. Reverend C. David,
yes,
Stackhouse,
sir.
Will you please give us our closing prayer before we do the ashes?
On last night in our Bible study, as I shared the teaching concerning Ash Wednesday, I simply was teaching this thought. People said that I changed a lot, but I said a lot changed me. People said that I changed a lot, but I said a lot changed me. That's my mantra that I go through this season of Ash Wednesday. Well, God, I humbly ask, that as we give up and lose and take a loss with things that's dear to us, I pray that as we give up during this season, that most of all we would take on just to be more like Christ, to be just a little kinder, just a little sweeter, just a little slower to anger, just to extend grace one to the other. This I ask in the matchless name of Jesus. And God, I am so thankful that can't nobody do me like Jesus. Can't nobody do me like the Lord. Amen. Bless us and keep us as we leave this place. I asked it and I count it done that we shall never be the same anymore, for we shall be changed in the name of Jesus. Somebody shout amen. Anyone who desire, you can come on my left, you can come on my right. Senior pastor stand there and I stand here. I am so good.